So business role and IT role, both are dependent on each other. So in the business role, we will add the criteria like how this role will be assigned to user. And in the IT role we will put those entitlements that we want to assign and link this to, business and IT, together. So basically now we have two units, business role and the IT role. Business role will check how this role will be assigned to user. Let's say I am the user, and this role is assigned to me. Now SailPoint will check what are those IT roles, which is configured with this role. So SailPoint will see that this is the one IT role. So, inside this IT role, any number of entitlements which is actually added here like this way, that will be assigned to me. So basically business role is just hold your assignment logic. How role will be assigned to user. IT role contains actual entitlement. Now I am just describing here. Now we have to set up it here. Before that, we have to basically define this. If you see, here we have this financial application. We have this HRMS application. We also have this as track application. Let me see what is the issue with this application. It's weird. So JDBC system. Now we have entitlement from this track application. We have 4 entitlement. If we go to inside the subgroup, you will see this. There are numbers here. Okay. So now, basically, what we'll do? We'll simply go to rules. First, we'll define a container. Click on the Add button. You have to provide a, let's say, track container. Same as premium. We have to first create our container. So we'll use this organizational role. So if you see, here we have this type of roles. So we'll use organization. Submit this. This is created. Okay. Now what we have to do is, inside this, we have to add here. Now what we'll do? Simply add the business role. Let's say track auditor. Let's say track approver. Okay. Give this name. Now, if you see this, we have this field here. Assignment role. How we want to assign this particular role to user, right? What should be a criteria? If user method criteria, this will be assigned. So that we need to define an assignment role. It will give you none, it will not assign to anyone. Match list also, you can select here. You can also write a filter here. You can also write a script. That means Java. You can also use a role here, and you can also use population. So now, if you see, we create the population in the past, right? So here you can directly select that population. So for those population, it will directly assign this role. Okay. Let's say, I select this population. Engineering Department. User form Omega region. Submit this. Okay, now this is the icon of your business role. Now we will create one more role. That is your ID role. Like, approver. ID. Same name, select ID role. Now, in this, you will not see any assignment logic. Here you will see the entitlement. Which entitlement do you want to assign to user? Click on Add button. Select the application. Let's say track. Now we want to assign the capability. Let's say approver. And same time also one more. Let's say reject also. Okay. Save this. We added 2 entitlement here. Save this. So now, if you see, we have created 2 entitlement. Track approver, and that is business role. And this is your ID role. Okay. Now, if you click on this business role, you will see this option required role. So when this business role track approver will be assigned to user who fulfills this assignment role criteria. That is a population basically. Right. So which role, which ID role, will be assigned to user? So we have to add here modified required roles. So here you have to type the name track, approver ID. Save this. Save this. So now, basically, we have defined one role, one complete role. Business role and ID role. You don't need to follow hierarchy here. That is not important at this moment. Okay, the main concept here is 2 roles, business role and ID role. Business role contains the assignment logic. How this role will be assigned to user. If this role is assigned to user, that means user is fulfilling the assignment criteria. This role is assigned to user. What are those roles which are ID roles, which are configured, this business role? So if you see here, if I scroll down, you see required role. Expand this. So inside this track approver business role, there is one ID role configured track approver ID. So if business role is assigned to user, SailPoint will ultimately add this track approver ID to the user. Right now. This is one example. In the prod or in the actual system. What we do. We add multiple roles here. Inside the multiple roles, you will have multiple entitlement from different applications. So basically level will increase, but the concept will remain same. ID role in the business role. Business role is called your assigned roles, because this will be assigned based on the assignment role. ID role is called detected roles, because this will be based on your entitlement. If entitlement will be assigned to user, it will come. Right now how this role is assigned to user. So by default, this role will not be assigned to user. Right. First of all your roles should be enabled. So if you see that this is enabled, this is enabled. So in case a role is not assigned, so you can also check if the role is enabled or not. Second thing is refresh ID cube. Go to refresh ID cube. Here we have 2 options. One is this one. Refresh assign detected role and promote additional entitlement. And this is the 1-second one. Provision assignment. So this one is simply check if any user is fulfilling the criteria here in the business role. The second one will actually assign both the roles to the user. So let's say, if I remove all this option from here, I simply run this to option. Refresh assign detected roles and provision assignment. That's it for all the user. Refresh ID cube. Save and execute. So basically, it's a container only. No significance of this organizational role. Only two roles are important, IT and business, through which we assign through which we control the RBAC, role-based access control. It's just a container. You will have multiple roles in the system, right? This is one example for the training purpose, but in the actual system you will have so many roles, right? So definitely we need to structure them right. So that's why we follow this hierarchy now by the sign wise. If you see it, it show you, sign like a folder, sign right. Now, if you see, this is showing colorful dot, right? So basically it's showing a hierarchy. Basically that means this business role will have the assignment logic and different role assigned. Now, if you see this icon is basically kind of a CPU, the old style CPU, right? Basically a system, actual system. Basically all like. Some like, for example, if you're going to use manager access right, you can request for this entitlement directly, right? That you have it in the entitlement catalog and same time you can also request for this roles. Okay. So basically, this is kind of partial, like partially you're using RPC and partially you're using SailPoint capability, but some organizations, they mark this entitlement request, requestable faults, right? That you can only request for roles and through the roles you will get the entitlements. So depend on the customer preference. Some want to go with 100% RPC and some want to use partially RPC. So the concept is basically, if they are frequently assigning and removing right and they have some kind of a standard structure, right? Then they should always use the role. Role is always a better approach. But see, this is an item. So when you use this manager access right, basically, this is an object right. It could be your entitlement, it could be your application. It could be a role, it doesn't matter. The main thing is when SailPoint process that object right, whatever configuration you have configured in the workflow LSM provisioning right, it will process that. So if you see a role type, I select the business role apply. Now you'll see the track up rule. Business role owner is the SP admin, so it will not create the approval, I guess. But one more thing it will do that I want to show you whenever you are making requests to roles, right? Application name will not come in SailPoint because role is a container which is holding multiple entitlements from different applications. So SailPoint cannot give you a particular application name, right? In that case, SailPoint use its own name. Application name is IQ. So if you see here it's not showing any application name. But when I submit on the access request number 2, you go here. Somewhere it should show. Application name is Identity IQ. Automatically SailPoint when the SailPoint will process this request right. It will check this role. What are the entitlement configured with this role? Track up rule. Based on that, It will break down the request and it will automatically assign those entitlement to this user that we have selected. So if you see here, this is one role that we request to track approval right. So you see, reason is requested. So this is what I requested. Application name is coming as identity IQ right. But when SailPoint process this role, that time SailPoint check that this role holds this one entitlement, that is, reject right. So SailPoint, assign this and the reason you say expansion. So basically, when SailPoint process it, that time SailPoint expand this role and find out that one entitlement is required to assign. So SailPoint added this approval and everything will go as same, like it was going for the entitlement request, as it is same. No change. Only application name will change and internally, SailPoint will convert this role into entitlement, like whatever entitlement you have selected here. For example, we have selected this to write. Approve is already selected. This used to this user, if you see. So that's why it's only adding the reject. SailPoint never assign the same access again. That you can do forcefully, but by default SailPoint will not. You see, approve is already assigned. So SailPoint is only assigning the reject. Here we have configured to write in the role. If you see the role,